So Nigeria just celebrated 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. Yay! But again, how much is there to celebrate, right? What has changed in our lives? How has our life been bettered? Bettered off. Has our lives better off now or then? Now, sincerely, obviously, I didn't experience most of the military role. I can only speak for what I know and understand. But for most of the stories they've been telling us, it looked like, apart from the struggle of the military and all that, they probably had a lot of things working for them compared to us. But again, that's what we're going to be discussing today on Hira. And then welcome and thank you for joining. So before we go deeper, we're only just going to be analyzing 2 videos on Democracy Day. So because I'm in love with this country called Nigeria, everything that happens to Nigeria kind of course, affects me, really. But yeah, I had to watch a lot of Democracy Day videos, and then I just wanted to have some talk about some of them. One particularly that I loved so much, I listened to. Please listen to it. It's very informative, it's very inspiring, and it's a situation where somebody is actually speaking truth to power. Literally, Tinubu was there when this former senator, was talking about Nigeria today from Nigeria before. All right, take a listen.
A day like this will not be complete without appreciating the role played by the likes of Colonel Abubakar Dangiwa Umar, the likes of Chief Abraham Adesanya, Alani Akao Boshorun, and the likes of Fred Eno. Mr. President, even though the governor of Kaduna State removed me from the seat, I will always remember that he was one of those who stood for us when we were in prison. He was among those who kept the torch of freedom alive while many of us languished in the cell. Mr. President, I would like to draw your attention to this fact and this truth. The national anthem cannot unite a nation. A national pledge cannot unite a nation. A constitution cannot unite a nation. A nation is united by the ideals of freedom. A nation is united by equity and by justice. Many younger generations of today have not and couldn't know the sacrifice we have made to restore democracy to this country. It is important that we bring to attention to those who were not here in those days of the struggle. This democracy was not a gift given to us by the military. It was not a lottery that we won. It was a product of struggle and sacrifice. There were people who were forced into exile, like the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and the likes of Wole Soyinka. There were people who were sent to prison, like us. We're supposed to spend the first 15 years of our life in prison, but by the magnanimity of God, we were out. There were many who were dead. This democracy was a product of struggle. The Academic Staff Union of Nigeria made sacrifices. Nigerian media made sacrifices. The Nupeng, headed by the like of Frank Kokori, made sacrifices. The National Association of Nigerian Students made sacrifices. This democracy was a product of that struggle, was a product of that commitment, and was a product of that determination. Mr. President, you have a duty to succeed. If you succeed, you will share your glory because you came from the trenches, you came from that struggle, you come from that period of struggle. Mr. President, if you fail, they will say that those of you who fought for democracy have nothing new to offer to Nigeria. We will pray for you, And we believe that the reforms which you have taken, there is no doubt about it, you too have recognized the untold hardship and the suffering it has inflicted on millions of people. But we are expecting that at the end of the day, it will bear fruit, and people will rejoice and say that the sacrifices that they have made, the consequences of that reforms, was something that was worth all this trouble. Mr. President, thank you for the honor and the privilege, and do something about the Nigerian prisons, because they were the ones who hosted us in those days and in those dark days of the struggle. And on the last call, Mr. President, there are some people who are still in detention as a result of the NSAS protest. They were young people who were protesting for justice, for freedom, and for democracy. Any young protester in Nigeria today learned from you, because you were the father of protest in Nigeria. Do something about it. Give them the freedom. You taught us, you funded us to stand up and fight, so they are your children and your grandchildren. Give them the pardon. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, guys, I know it was a bit long, but really it was what I kind of enjoyed listening to him speak, and it was short, it was concise, he had a lot packed in it, and that's just what I want to discuss now. So, he said from the struggles of the past, how they had gone to prisons to fight for this democracy. This democracy was not a given, it was a struggle. The military didn't just give it to them. People actually died for this democracy, and then somehow it feels like this generation of leaders that we have, or who feel because they fought for this democracy, we do not have a right to say, yes, we fought for our democracy, yes, we thank you. But now, this thing you're doing, the way you're doing it, is not working for everybody. It is not your right. As it was the mantra for the president when he was contesting, even though he claimed he was only talking to his party people, but again, it obviously filtered into everybody's subconsciousness that he was saying Emilio Con, it's now my turn, it's left for me to now be the president, and well, he's the president. So now, one some kind of profound things that Senator Sani said was, number one, there is no democracy that is not founded now, of course, an ideal one, because everybody has the way it is now. The world has different forms of democracy, whatever it is that works for them, fine. But when the ideals of freedom, equity, and justice are not there, I can tell you for a fact, Nigeria is not free like that. And even the elections in South Africa will tell you the difference with what has happened to us. Yes, I'm not saying they don't have their own issues, but we were told that our elections was going to be live, we're going to be seeing what's happening. If you look at the South African picture, you would see them showing it as it was trickling in. So nobody even has time to, or nobody would have had the chance to go and say, okay, let's distort it here before you come to the collation center, right? Because you would have seen it live there. So whatever you're bringing definitely has to corroborate whatever is already there. That didn't happen for us. And we went out to vote. Like, literally a lot of Nigerians that we love Nigeria youths went out to vote that last election. Now, equity, justice, that's a different story. Nigerians are not equal. Nigerians are more equal than other Nigerians. And it's not a joke. There are times where we will say, oh, well, let every Nigerian be Nigerian in Nigeria, right? No Nigerian is more Nigerian than, but no, that's not true. There are Nigerians that are more Nigerian than other Nigerians. That's the truth. Nigerians who are wealthy are more Nigerians than other Nigerians. Nigerians who have power are more Nigerians than other Nigerians. Because there's some things that will be happening and you'll be like, are you serious? Yes. People will just go and just get rounded up because they are young boys tonight, and in quotes, they are criminal. So they just go and pick them up. People will be doing certain things, you just go and round them up. Somebody has his hair in locks, you go and round them up. Do you understand? But they won't do that to wealthy men's children. They won't do that to the politicians' children. So no, we don't have equity. There are times and times when people have invaded communities, people have killed people have dislodged people. And then do you know what they'll come and say? Oh, it's just a communal dispute. No, it's not. People are moving. Where I used to live, there's some things that somebody would gist you and be like, okay, they're gisting you. No, I lived in this area. And then from our house, you'll be hearing the gunshots in the village. Like it's a village. So My house is in the upper village side, and then the village go is inside, and then you'll be hearing gunshots. And in the morning, you're seeing people trooping, going out with their things because they've killed people and they have to leave. And that's how people keep leaving their own places, because these communities are not big, but I don't know what they are looking for there. They will chase them, kill them, and then move on. And then you come to the media and they're telling you, oh, it's just headers and whatever clashes. So you see, there's no justice in that country, and that's the problem, that when there's no justice, there's no peace. And I'm just picking this little one. There are so many things that justice has divided us for in that country. Really, so many things. Just more recently, I'm not a fan of Bobrisky, but you know that it was not necessarily that thing that made them carry her or carry him, whichever one. But there's so many Nigerians who do all those things. There's so many wealthy Nigerians who spray money, but they've not gone to round them up. Even the one they rounded up now, they said they've settled already. Now, again, the person's lawyer better off, obviously, but again, they settled out of court. So you see, the problem with Nigeria is that you must be rich, you must have money, you must have power, and that these people understand that country, and that they would obviously put it under siege or cage, so to speak. And when people go out to protest, like the NSAS, people get gunned down. People's stories are denied and said, oh, it was fake news, this did not happen. But it actually did happen. And Senator Shehu also told the president, these are your children. If anybody learns protest, you were protesting. So what has happened that, obviously he was not the president then, I'm not saying he was the president then, he was just, obviously he was the people there. But again, Buhari was Buhari, he would do whatever he wanted to do. But the issue there now is, he's saying, please release release these people who are in prisons for this NSAS issue, because they were all learned, we're all struggling, we're all fighting for a better country. You fought the military to give us democracy, fine. Now, can you let us enjoy the dividends of democracy? Can you let us vote for people we want to vote for? Not impose people on us and say, oh, okay, it is my turn, and I will do everything and anything to get into that position. Right. So, as I said, democracy, I don't want to say too much, he has said really a lot. It was not a gift by the military, it's something they fought for. So, yeah. And then secondly, I would not be going to a video with this. On that same Democracy Day, I listened to a number of speakers on the platform. So the platform, I think they do Democracy Day, they do on 1st October, and then, yeah, so they're always talking about Nigeria and the discourse. And I think they said I know it's over 30 years now. Is it 30? No, was it 30 years? I mean, I don't exaggerate. I know we've done it for a long time. Yeah, for a fact. Yeah, for so many years. More than 10 years now, for a fact. I know that one. So, just going through some of the speakers and some of the highlights for me. And then Shehu Onibinde, one of the speakers, is the, I don't know now if he's the founder or something, but he runs budget, right? So, he said something. He said, democracy should be accountable and there has to be equity. You say, well, going back to this equity again, it has to be that people in power are accountable. I think he got a government appointment or so, but I think he said it took him for just 2 weeks. I know people thought he didn't take it, but it took him for just 2 weeks. And he gave an example of how a DSS person who was attached to him or something came to him and said, Oga, please, can I see you for a moment or something? Came to his office and then he was scared, he had a gun and all that, but yeah. And then the guy said, oh, that he wants to apologize to him for not reminding him about something. And then he was like, no, it's not a problem. But you could see the way the guy said it, like if to another person, it would have been a problem. And if you worked in government, you know you know that your organs are your organs, like, you know. So I think that was what he was pointing out, and it's that fear that people cannot stand up to authority and say this thing you're doing is not right. I will not be victimized. Can you imagine that Donald Trump was a Nigerian president and then he called that I don't know what position the man was holding, the electoral guy in Georgia, and tells him, I just need 11,000 kiniko. You'd think that would not have come out. And then he says, oh, no, sir, it's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah. So that's what we're saying. That people need to be accountable. People need to be able to stand up to the duties they've been given. I know there's this thing about, oh, our leaders are bad, our leaders are bad. Yes, but Nigeria's problem is just bigger than our leaders, right? Some people say, oh, but leadership has affected how we all do things. If leadership gets it right, we will get it right. Yes, agreed. There's no two ways about that. It is part of the problem. It is not all the problem. If us two as human beings now decide, again, don't forget this is a country where we are Christians, we are Muslims, and yes, we have idol worshippers. But we believe in certain principles, right? And if these principles cannot be upheld on our own individual level, you are waiting for tinubu or whoever, or Buhari or whoever to tell you, oh, don't pay for your child to cheat in an exam. Why won't your child just go and read the book and pass? I'm just giving one example. I'm just saying a lot of these things happen. You're waiting for them to tell you not to hit your measuring scale so that the thing, it looks like, oh, there's so much inside. Meanwhile, there's nothing inside. You're looking for them to tell you that, okay, when you put the potatoes, you do not put the tinier ones inside and put the bigger ones at the top so that it looks like, okay, this is this you're giving. You're looking for them not to tell you to lie, like mini lies. Yes, they are bad. Yes, they affect, what they do affects us down. But really, as a Nigerian, what is that thing you're doing differently? There are people in that your Nigeria. You know, sometimes people say, oh, everybody has this thing, everybody has got. No, they are good Nigerians. They are very good Nigerians. They are good Nigerians who have said, I would not be a part of this, and they are not a part of it. Yes, I can tell you for a fact. They are good Nigerians like that. So that you collectively now say, oh, the only problem we have is a problem of leadership. Now, Soludo was saying something on that Democracy Day on the platform. He said, we're not all talking about the minimum wage or the living wage, which reasonably things should be done with that. But he's now asking, have we even talked about our work ethic, right? People go to work and all they do is just gist. Somebody will say, and yes, it's leadership, they've not given them what to do. Sometimes, are they really not giving you what to do? And we keep giving examples, and a lot of these players kept giving examples of Singapore. And then something was mentioned. He said, Singapore's civil service works like a private sector. Like, so where I used to work is government, right? But because the organization generates its own money, now this is not everybody even doing the job. There's a level of work ethic in that place that is relatively different to what you will get in maybe some ministries and all those kind of places, because we know we need to make that money, right? So there's a level. Now, I'm just saying it, there's a level. I'm not saying everybody is involved. There's a level of work ethic that people do. So they're now saying in Singapore that the civil service is as good as the private sector. And if not, they even pay them, if not better than the private sector. So you're now seeing that our problem is a multifaceted problem, and we all need to find these solutions in these different ways and do it. Another thing that was pointed out by one of the speakers is that, what are we producing? Really, what are we producing? What are we selling? What is it that if there's a, God forbid, if something like Ukraine is happening in Nigeria, Russia and Ukraine is happening in Nigeria, how will the world feel it? People felt what happened in Ukraine. People are feeling what's happening in Ukraine, right? The grains and everything. Yeah, you can argue that they too have corruption and all that, but they are producing something. What is it that would happen if Nigeria today goes into war or something and everybody's like, Nigeria, what would happen to the world? Right? We're not producing anything. Now, I'm just exaggerating that we're producing some things, but probably not as much as I want. Then another interesting thing, Speaker Dogara was also, former Speaker Dogara was also there, and he was really giving some very radical solutions to the problem. So he said, he said, okay, now his own issue. He had other this, and they were really very interesting. And I was like, this is really radical. Like, can this work in Nigeria? Would this work in Nigeria? And then he was also talking about the dollars and how we can take away dollars from people who already have them, who have hoarded them. You know, sometimes these things look like film show until they are happening. I don't know if you guys remember this NNPC guy, Yakubu, who went to stash money in a kind of you'd call it deprived area in Kaduna, and then these monies were in bags and some were already getting spoiled. Now, if not because of the whistleblower that talked about it and the fan, you would not believe it. I know some people say, people stash money, and they say, people think, why are you exaggerating? Yeah, things like that. And people have dollars in their houses that they've stashed as well. So he's saying, find a way to collect all these monies from them. And he will just give you some kind of, but they were really thoughts. There are things that you really need to think very deep about, and And then, this is because I knew I pointed out something more radical. He said we should do it the way Bill Salman did his own. I said, like, what's Bill Salman's style? They're like, okay, remember one time where they were rounding up some of those Saudi princes, putting them in a hotel, saying you have to bring out those have been charged with corruption, kept them locked in a place for a period of time. Yes, so he was saying that's how you fight corruption. But again, technically Nigeria is a democracy, so we need to follow the rules of law. And then another thing he said, which is very important and which goes back to the point I made earlier, the government is limited. Most of us leave school and we're thinking, which of the government job am I going to get now? Because now one thing about government jobs is that they are hard to get in, but when you get in, it's like you're just living the soft life. Whether it's ministry, whether it's more of the parastatal A's or B's or C's, literally you can just chill. It's not that serious like a private sector. But again, the government is limited. How many government organizations can actually employ all of us, right? So so last and last, there's no easy or quick fix to it. There's no easy or quick fix to it. But I think another thing I wasn't sure of how, I know Governor Soludo is an economist, and I understand, like, you can't just throw money to people and everything. But again, there needs to be a balance with productivity and what we get paid. And again, you cannot just take off subsidies and not have a plan B that would go concurrently with it. I knew that even when people announced it and everybody prices just jacked up as of 29. I think it was supposed to come in place by June or so, but everything just changed. But again, it's Nigeria and that's how things happen. But there should have still been a better way to do it, in a way that it alleviates or helps people, especially when it has to do with transportation. You're looking at fuel, the dollars. Again, Nigeria is a dollarized country. Yes, that's another thing that was pointed out. I remember, and sometimes you hear these things and you're like, I remember that I spoke to someone in Kefi for a picture. Now, I was here when I called, but I was using, because I still use my Nigerian number, so I was using my my Nigerian line on WhatsApp, and then I was chatting and asking him, okay. And then he said I was going to pay $100. So I'm like, I'm going to pay $100. He said yes. So because I didn't have this conversation, I just kept quiet. I said, okay, thank you. And then in my head, I'm like, shit, this one side is correct. I'm going to pay $100. Are you serious? I'm going to pay you $100 for taking pictures in Nigeria. Shall you tell our problem? You can actually, if you're thinking or you're claiming, oh, things have changed and all that, you can convert it. It's a simple thing. I'm either going to take it or not. You want to use black market to convert it, do that for yourself, but don't tell me I'm going to pay you in dollars. Yeah. So that's that. So I'm just trying to see that I did not miss any of these points, because so we need to do more product. We need to do a lot of things. We need to change our attitude, number one. We need to get our electoral processes right, that we are electing the right people, that no Nigerian is less Nigerian than any other Nigerian because they have money or they do not have money, all those kind of things. So we really need to get these things right. We need to, for Nigeria to progress, for everyone to benefit from this democracy that we're celebrating. And really, I really cannot remember, I think I was born with military era, but I do not remember kind of experiencing how life was then. I just knew that when Abacha died, people were dancing. That's all I know, and people were jubilating. But I don't know any other thing, that I do not remember most of every other thing that happened. But if these people that are leading us now fought for those things, then why are you now angry that these fruits of your protests is not yielding to your younger ones saying, your younger children saying, this is what we want for our lives, right? So, so So this is my Democracy Day recap of everything I thought I should share with you guys. Have a blessed week, and then happy democracy.